This is a Savage 308 barrel that I shot yesterday, and I ran some coil and some patches through it to get the loose carbon out. You can see I'm pulling the Borescope down the barrel toward the chamber, and you can get some idea how much machining there is. Machining marks in this thing. It's pretty consistent across both the lands and the grooves. And I'm going to go back toward the muzzle end with a reflector after I get through with this pass back out to the chamber. And this barrel is really good. It's probably got, I would say, maybe 500 rounds through it, I guess. I haven't shot it in 4 years until yesterday. Now, this view I've cut down a patch and put it on the jag, and I'm pulling it out ahead of the Borescope. But it gives you a little better idea of what the texture of and what the surfaces of the lands and the grooves look like. And you can see the machining marks. The machine marks are both in the groove as well as the lands. So you can see when you're using a borescope, what I'm learning is that light is everything. And the way the light falls on the irregularities in the barrel really has a lot to do with what you see and what emphasis you place on what you see. If you look down these grooves are clear. They're clear. What you're seeing is surface imperfections and a lot of copper, but this barrel shoots fine, just the way it is. So I'm about to run out of the end of the barrel here, and you put the mirror back on and start back over at the chamber end. There's also a very light coat of oil. Light is everything. So the reflections on the surface here make it look like this thing is just floating in oil, and it's not. But the reflections, that's the other thing. Reflections sometimes look like lead, and so you have to move the bore probe around a little bit to get a different view to see if what you're looking at is a lead deposit or a reflection. Now, you can definitely see the copper, but in this view, at an angled view, you get to see how rough the machining really looks. And what you see is that the copper is filling in some of those irregularities in the lands, in the grooves. So I didn't want to remove the copper because I was afraid of how many rounds it would take to fill these back in. Now, you also can see what looks like some carbon deposits, and those are real, I think. But if you can see the rifling broach cuts in the groove through the deposit, then the deposit's not very thick. So again, in this view, you can't tell how thick anything is in the grooves, but it looks like I left a little carbon, but when you rotate it, you see what was black in one orientation actually doesn't look black when you rotate the borescope a little bit. So I guess my opinion is that there's not a lot of loose carbon, or there's not a lot of carbon in this barrel, period, even though it looks like it. But there's plenty of copper in the barrel, and if I cleaned it all out, it would just take a few bullets down the bore to redeposit that that copper. So I'm not going to take the copper out. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go shoot the gun and see how it does today after I've adjusted the cheek weld and try to get the gun fit a little better from a bench position. It was all set up for a prone position, and I need to straighten it up some and actually be able to shoot it better. And I think if I can, what I'm hoping is several half-inch groups today.